Hi everyone, Pink Thinny Boy Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Lil Uzi Vert project, Pink Tape. New and long-awaited record from Philly rapper, singer, and songwriter Lil Uzi Vert. Something they'd been teasing towards since their prolific 2020 run that saw them drop the highly anticipated Eternal A Take. Also a deluxe version of that record which essentially added another album's worth of material on top of it. Also the future crossover Pluto and Baby Pluto. And since giving fans like a bit of a taste or, an idea that this Pink Tape was dropping, the release date has been getting pushed back again and again and again and again. But even though news of the Pink Tape's release had slowed, fans were still dying to hear this thing. And that desire only intensified after the sudden drop of Just Wanna Rock in October of 2022, with the track becoming a certified hit since, going 2 times platinum. Though personally I thought it was kind of an odd cut to pop off for Uzi. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like it, so much so that I wish there was more to it and that it was longer. It does have an infectious groove, a unique chord progression, these persistent broken up kicks that rock like Morse code too. The vibes on this track are really weird, digital, and futuristic, like something off of JPEG Mafia or Death Grips record. But Uzi himself isn't really a huge presence on the track vocally, in my opinion. Really, the production and the random vocal drops throughout the track are what carries. And that had me kind of wondering, like, what sort of vocal presence is Uzi gonna have on the rest of this record if this is like the huge single? And the final answer to that is a lot, or not a lot, depending on what track you're listening to on this chaotic-ass album. Chaotic because it's so all over the damn place, but still manages to come through with quite a few hits, as well as quite a few misses. It's maybe my favorite Uzi studio album so far, but it's still kind of riddled with head scratchers and easily avoidable low moments. There is a strong start to the project though, with Flooded the Face, which is a really anthemic and trippy bit of trap music with steady beats, a very strong and relentless flow from Uzi. They're bringing a lot of energy to the table on this one. However, I'm not really surprised because this wouldn't be the first Uzi project to start off with both guns blazing. The question is, does it do this for the following 20 plus tracks? And you know what? You do get Suicide Doors, where Uzi tries their hand at this current trend of rage music. And holy crap, does this track go hard. The heavy metal guitars, the cycling trap beats sound great. There's a lot of super rough vocals and ad-libs all over this cut too, including this one where Uzi is just like, like, I don't think Uzi is just doing this style justice. They're kind of killing it and coming through with more of a pulse than Playboi Carti's entire Opium record label right now. Plus, there's an Arca production credit on the track, which I love to see, which may add to this song just kind of sounding a touch more unhinged than what you might normally hear in this lane. There's a similar angle to the song Amped as well, another rage song in the track list that somehow smokes most of the competition in this lane. In fact, I'm kind of surprised there aren't more songs in this style on the rest of the album considering how good they came out. But with Uzi being the free spirit that they are, of course, we start seeing them drift into other sounds, other vibes, other styles, and the results are kind of mixed. There's A with Travis Scott, which I admire the very raw vocal performance on this one. However, the main issue is that the track isn't really saying shit and it's not even remotely catchy. All the yeah repetitions just begin to feel like dead air after a while, and Travis doesn't really save the song either. If you're looking for something better in that psych trap vibe, then listen to the song Crush 'Em, which brings stronger melodic flows, and while the refrain on this one is simple too, it actually kind of snaps. There's also a cool synth change-up in the second half of the track, and I love that occasionally Uzi will work in a nice little phase change with one of these tracks when working with their producers. Deeper into the project, there are a handful of super synthy trap cuts that feel like they could have been on Eternal A Take, but maybe this time around sounding a little more colorful and vibrant, be that X2 or the track Pluto to Mars, whose title makes me wonder if it's like a holdover from 2020. There's also Died and Came Back, which I do appreciate for adding to the overall variety of the project, but still. The song does feature one of the most annoyingly strained flows on the entire record, to the point where it's really unlistenable to me and I skip it each time it comes on. Not to mention, Rigatoni is not spaghetti! is one of the worst opening lines of any song I've heard this year. And like, if you needed an update on Uzi Vert's pen game, yeah, it's still not good. To this day, they're clearly still an artist who connects with their fans more through how the music feels versus what it actually says. The midpoint of this project is where things begin to get a little dicey. There is Spin Again, which in comparison with every other track here is so dejected and low energy. It's painfully lethargic. And we have kind of the opposite problem on the following That Fire, where Uzi is hitting the beat with loads of nutty and insane flow and inflection changes. Makes the track feel really animated and chaotic, but the issue is that very little of it translates. And though I have my criticisms of these tracks, I wouldn't say either of them are the worst. That may go to Endless Fashion, featuring Nicki Minaj. Not only does this track have a really trashy partial interpolation of the Eiffel 65 song, I'm blue, but Nicki's chorus on this track is so awful. I Got a Republican Doctor, Made My Ass Great Again, MAGA. What? And it's sad because this is one of the few tracks on the record that has any level of lyrical focus, because Nicki and Uzi back and forth are kind of like, you know, flexing their taste in fashion with a bunch of like designer mentions. Okay, I get it. You guys have taste in fashion, but where's the taste in music? Where's the taste in that? And this track is not the only crummy interpolation included on the record. There's also the song Mama, I'm Sorry, which has bits of somebody that I used to know. For whatever reason, it doesn't really add that much to the song overall. But I suppose not every attempt of Uzi pulling a little inspiration from somewhere is a bad thing. There's also Nakamura, which incorporates some heavy samples from the entrance theme of Japanese wrestler Shinsuke Nakamura. And the track ends up being a total anthem. Even if Uzi's vocals on the instrumental are kind of laced into it in a way where it sounds like muffled karaoke over a PA at a dive bar. The passion and vocal performance is still there, and Uzi does throw out a few legitimately fun and cute lines. So in that sense, they're in rare form on this one. There's also Fire Alarm, which has Snow Strippers in the mix on production, but this track also pulls heavy samples from the Justice song Stress, which is one of my favorite cuts from the French House duo. The strings and driving kicks on that track are insane, but Uzi and Snow Strippers are able to kind of do some trap flips and some beat switch ups here and there. The song never really quite settles down. It's loaded with like jarring vocal drops and weird effects. I imagine this song sounds like the nuttiness going on in Uzi Vert's mind at any given time, which kind of makes it endearing. It's just unfortunate that rarely is the execution there in terms of making that feeling come to life like it is on this track. Because if you were looking for that execution to last deeper into the record, it does not, because following this we have the song CS, which is essentially Uzi Vert doing karaoke over the instrumental of Chop Suey from System of a Down. It's just a karaoke cover, which, what can I say? The vocals on it suck ass. Also, the vocal mixing on it sucks ass. And I have no idea why Uzi's vocals sound not just doubled, but like tripled up at some points. There's similar vibes on the song Werewolf featuring Bring Me the Horizon. While this track isn't literally a cover song, it sees Uzi rocking over somebody else's material. But in this instance, with way less presence on the song, because, you know, Ollie and Bring Me the Horizon kind of feel like the stars of the show, essentially, and Uzi is just like throwing down a bit of vocal input here and there. I mean, the track overall is decent, but very little of what I like about it has to do with what Uzi does on it. Thankfully, there's kind of a decent run of tracks to finish toward the end of the LP. Days Come and Go, which is a legitimately introspective moment on the record, where Uzi goes over feelings around isolation, mental health issues, stress, past trauma, with a really great synth-backed chorus. Handily one of the best tunes here. There's also Patience featuring Don Toliver, which is a woozy, melodic, drugged-out piece of trap that, again, has one of the strongest choruses on the entire LP, and does legitimately feel like Uzi locked into a druggy psychedelic haze. And I think this sets things up for the track Rehab, which is actually a focused song about going through rehab, withdrawals, addiction issues. Now, I think Uzi's pen game does limit them a little bit on this track, as I feel like there are some bits of detail and narrative flow that are left to be desired. And because Uzi isn't fully connecting the dots, we are reduced to hearing unintentionally funny lines like, I came in with 50K, I left out with 50K, because you can't spend no money in this place. I mean, it is Rehab, but still, I do like that the song comes from a genuinely sincere place and does pull from a pretty hard time and experience in Uzi's life. So I do think it is a cool moment to sort of finish on. But this is not the last track, though. That one for the kind of core standard edition of the album is The End, featuring Baby Metal. Yes, the cutesy and fun Japanese metal outfit Baby Metal. They are featured on this track. And while it is a kind of crazy and unexpected finish to the project, it just kind of feels like the Bring Me the Horizon vibes all over again. We have another band kind of coming in, bringing metal vibes, bringing their own sound, style, production, everything. And Uzi, while they are there, they're mostly just kind of, lost in the mix and insanity of it all. Yeah, this is a really hard record to sum up because, again, it's so chaotic, it's such a mess, it's so unkempt. There are some incredibly high highs and bangers and interesting spots throughout this project, and there are moments that make me wince and cringe and question life itself. Plus, they just straight up ruin a System of a Down song. What did Chop Suey ever do to you? I'm not sure if there's a whole lot to add outside of that because it's not an incredibly deep record or anything like that. I just feel like Uzi operates purely on visceral feelings, just fleeting artistic pushes to go in this direction or that direction, and there isn't really a whole lot of rhyme or reason. They're just doing and trying anything and everything, and whatever happens, happens, and there's certainly merit to that approach. That way of doing things leads to a lot of surprises, a lot of experimentation, but that's kind of the only field on this record that Uzi excels in. When it comes to editing themselves, choosing the winners from the losers, coming through with like a concise, focused point, and bringing some memorable lyricism to the table, this album is really, really, really lacking. So while in one breath I do appreciate that Uzi brings a super unique and specific brand of chaos to the rap mainstream, in another I can't help but think of how much better this project could have been if there was just like a bit more premeditation going on in terms of the quality of everything landing on this record. Feeling a decent to strong 5 on this thing. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Lil Uzi Vert, forever.